Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the main event, or one of them. I'm joined by my good pal and serial tournament crusher, Aaron Baroni. Aaron, how you doing? We're early today. We're going to talk about you a little bit. I know you love doing that. It's your favorite topic.
I actually was hoping we would just skip the main event, just have a nice 2 hours about my experience in the main event. But there are 9 players who did make a final table today who deserve some shine. So we'll get to that. And I already know who my pick is, but we'll get into that a little bit later. For now, I guess we'll talk about me.
Yeah. So, guys, we're here 15 minutes early, which is even earlier than we usually do for obviously our small segments. This is something we wanted to do because if you didn't know, guys, myself and Aaron were just at the World Series of Poker main event along with the rest of the team. And Aaron did rather well. If this is your first knowledge of what Aaron got up to, Aaron, you came 65th in the World Series of Poker main event. You arrived back home yesterday, cashing for $125,000. Congratulations. How do you feel?
I feel really good. Each moment that passes from the bust out, I feel better, right? Like immediately after, I wasn't thinking this is my biggest score. I'm so pumped. It was, it was that brutal feeling. And, this is going to be a very positive interview. I'm very happy with everything, but just to give you in that moment, I was talking earlier that the room felt so full when you're in the main event. Everything's so hectic and chaotic, especially when you're down to a few tables. Most of them are on feature, and it's just a compacted area with a lot of people. And I busted, and I walked away from that, and the room felt so empty. And that was disappointing, and that feeling was not super fun. But every moment after that has felt lighter and better, and I've been able to sort of reframe and realize how, in a sense, lucky I was to make it that deep. And it was just an incredible experience. I'm feeling great. Happy to be home. But no regrets at all.
Yeah. So we're going to dig a little bit into your entire story because obviously, your bust and where you finish is not the whole story. You were there for a good amount of time. You had to add on a few hotel days along the way, which you could afford. So let's just talk about a little bit about the entire experience then. I've seen through a lot of your stories about your consistent progression in the tournament over the last few years. This was your 4th, if I'm not mistaken, main event. Specifically in regards to something your mum said after you busted your 2nd main event on day 3. How much, and you can go into that yourself, how much of that consistent progress you think is down to variance, and how much you think it is compared to experiencing the main event and maybe learnings you've taken through your previous runs that helped you this year?
I think both play a role. I mean, I could have easily busted this tournament on day 2. I got an ace king versus 9s and I turned an ace, right? Like I could have bricked that out and I bust on day 2 and I lose 10K instead of making 125. I do think the experience though plays a pretty big role. Each like this run particularly, I felt less nerves than ever. And a huge product of that is the fact that I've been there before. Perhaps I didn't make it obviously as deep before, but I've played the main event. Now this was my 4th year. And so I was a lot more comfortable in making my decisions. And I felt like I didn't need as much time to make them. Just more live reps have really helped out. And being on the bubble before, in a spot made me less concerned about it. Getting pay jumps, playing at a tough table, playing with new players. There's all these things I've been through before, and that really does help out. And at the end of the day, you just want to be as clear-headed as possible and make the decisions that you think are right. And when you can kind of quiet all of that noise, that gives you the best shot to do it.
What did your mum say to you after you busted on day 3 2 years ago?
So the first time I busted the main event, she was very proud because there were 10,000 players and I had made it to like top 6,500. Yeah. And she was like, you beat 3,500 players. And I was like, yeah, I did. And
I need
like,
some of that energy from your mom, actually.
Yeah, you should be proud. Yeah. And I was like, oh, thank you. And the year after, I finished again, day 3, out of the money. And she's like, well, you improved. You made an extra day, 1 day deeper. And this time you beat 4,500 players. Yeah, that's true. I made 0 money each time, but I guess it's an improvement, right? And she was saying to me, just go 1 day deeper, just do it again. And I said, all right, sure. Then last year, I actually made it 2 days deeper. I made it to day 5 and cashed for 45K, my best score ever in the main at that point, 324th place. And her response was obviously overwhelming support, but hey, just do it again. Just go 1 day deeper. And at this point, I'm thinking it's really hard, like, to make it past day 5. There are a lot of amazing players who never make it past that point. And so to have that as my goal going into this year, I thought was very impractical and not helpful. But, you know, I didn't tell my mom that. I said, yeah, we're going to give it a try. And somehow we did it again. We made it 1 day deeper, nearly 2, actually, but at least 1 on to day 6 for my biggest score ever in the main. Honestly, my biggest score ever.
Yeah, that's
and,
okay.
Yeah, 65th place. It's going to be really hard to beat that next year, but I'm going to go in with the same mindset of somewhat impractical to hope to beat it, but who knows? Anything can happen.
Yeah. On that though, I was thinking of asking you if there was a hand this year that you think defined the main event for you, but I already had a fairly good idea of what that was, so I'm not going to ask. We were lucky enough to get some footage of it, not just for our social media, but for the vlog that will be coming up on the 88 Poker YouTube channel. And it's a spot that was very similar to a hand that you played, just eerily similar to a hand that you played last year. I'm just interested, during that 12-minute river tank, did you find it difficult to separate those emotions from the feeling of busting last time in a similar situation, or were you completely laser focused on making the right decision? Because obviously you were tanking for a while. You can deal with the 12-minute bit first if you want, just because that's an in joke.
Okay. It wasn't 12 minutes. There was actually another spot where someone thought I also tanked for 12 minutes, and it was 4. I have no idea how long I tanked, how long it took me to end up putting the money in, but it was the last hand before dinner break, and most of the table had stuck around to watch this hand play out, which makes me think it wasn't that long. But what I was thinking about in that spot was how brutal it was going to be, how bad it was going to feel if I was wrong, because it was a similar spot where I, had the opportunity to hero call off my entire main event life on day 5, level 2, just as I'd done 1 year earlier. Day 5, level 2, heroed it off and was wrong. And I had a similar situation this time, but with a much worse hand, actually. And, the whole table, plus a lot of media members, a lot of the 888 Poker family are standing around the table because we're planning to go to dinner after. And if I bust right here, it's even worse. And so all of those feelings and thoughts are going through my head. And as I said to you earlier, I had to do my best to quiet them down and think about the hand itself and block out all that other stuff, because other stuff doesn't really matter. What matters is, do you think your hand is good or not? Should you put the money in or not? Is it profitable or not? And ultimately, I just reached the decision. In fact, I reached it a few minutes earlier, or at least a little bit earlier, that I needed to put the money in. I needed to make this call. I thought my 7 high flush was good. And it took me a couple other, maybe we'll say 30 seconds to a minute, to actually physically bring myself to put the chip in the middle. But when I did, I was shown the good news. My opponent did not have a better hand, and we doubled up with our 7 high flush. And I spent the entire dinner break just trying to decompress because I was just buzzing at that point.
It's funny you said that, because when I was watching the clip, I was like, I didn't know when you called. I just knew that you called and won because you texted me and told me about it. It looked like there was about 4 or 5 times during the clip that your body was trying to call and you just couldn't do it until you finally flicked the chip in. And the way that you flicked the chip in, it was exactly the same as the way you flicked the chip in last year. Yeah. So yeah, it was a beautiful moment to see you to come through the other side of that, because I've never seen you that emotional about, like, as you stood up, you were like, oh my God, I'm right, and here we go, kind of thing. It was a pretty cool moment, because obviously the main event's an unbelievable tournament, and to make a decision like that, I thought that was really, really impressive and poignant. Obviously, the cornerstone of your run this year, I would say. Anything else on that before we move on? Yeah,
for me, that moment was really big because it came full circle to a year from before, and I knew what would happen if I was wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm just getting dragged through the coals of social media for an extended period of time. And even when that dies down, I'm the guy who called off a 7 high flush like an idiot in the main event. How does he run so deep in the main? Why does a poker site pay him money? Like all these things. How is he a professional? I wouldn't call that. And if I'm right, I am getting some love for it, but it's not the same level. Like I know how social media and our society kind of works on that. But again, it was important to me to not listen to that, because that isn't really what matters if you're going to try to play this game to make money at it. What matters is you just have to make the right decision and trust yourself. And more often than not, you're going to be right, hopefully. And this time I was. And man, like the fact that my main event didn't end on that hand, I felt like anything that happens after that is just gravy, just icing on the cake.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great call. Really good stuff. People might not know that this was not your first year playing on the feature table. You did make it to the feature table in the end this year. By virtue of there not that being many people left.
They had to.
There was no choice. They tried to keep you away for too long. Obviously, like I said, not your first one, but how did it feel? Obviously, last 100 of the main, cameras everywhere, things are obviously getting extremely serious. Were you happy on your own out on the outer tables? Did it feel a lot different when you got moved over there? You were next to a main event champion and Sean Deeb. You know, I can't imagine that was the easiest thing to do. How did it feel? Was it a big difference in shift? Like, oh wow, here we go.
Well, I felt like I played this entire main event from like day 2 on if it was a video game, it was on expert level hard mode, where just like, oh, you're having a good time in the main, things are going well. How about we move you to a table with one of the best players of all time? Oh, that didn't go too poorly for you. We'll move you to a tougher table, actually. But that player is not there anymore. Oh, we're going to bring back that online crusher. He's going to sit with you too. Oh, you survived? How about we bring you to the feature table with a main event champion and Sean Deeb? And Sean Deeb is someone who, in that entire field, for me, is probably one of the toughest players to play, because he knows all the online tricks that I know. He's played tournaments. He knows these short stack shoves that a lot of other players don't. So it was very difficult. And then to have that under the bright lights and have the cameras, I didn't really want that. You know, I wasn't like, I'm not like, oh, I want all the smoke. Like I just kind of wanted to grind in relative obscurity and chip up. But it's funny, after my first hand at that table, I felt very comfortable. And I didn't feel that way last year when I was on the feature. I was uncomfortable almost the entire time. But this time, again, with the experience I had from before, I just was able to play. And unfortunately on the feature, I was short stacked the entire time, but I did have a fun few hands, including making a decent full with top pair, which will, again, be a hand that I think about for a long time. And I guess the worst part of being on the feature was that I knew I couldn't overly stall. I wasn't taking 12 minutes to fold, but I was taking a few extra seconds to fold the 9-3 off under the gun. And you can't do that on a feature table, especially when Sean Deeb is on your left, because he is paying attention to that and will judge you for it correctly. But it was another incredible experience to be on the feature. I'm glad I got that opportunity. I just hope next year, if I make it again, it'll be in a softer seat and not between one of the best players in the world live and online, and then a former main event champion, as well as many other players at the table who are very, very solid that I'd played with earlier.
Yeah, it was quite, for me as well, amazing to watch. I hope everyone got a chance to watch some of Aaron play, because watching you there in between, even the hand you weren't in, where there were either side of you battling, and you were just there like with your sunglasses on, like what am I doing here kind of thing. It was crazy to watch. And I think for everyone, like maybe a lot of people here watching this now, from the outside, it just looks like good player makes deep run, makes money in main, good stuff. But having been there with you, I know that this was a lot more than that. And I just have to say, your attitude towards the game, your professionalism, the way you conducted yourself at the table over an entire week, you're an absolute credit to yourself, honestly, and to your family and to this company, Ace Poker. It was honestly a pleasure to spend that week with you. And I genuinely mean that. The way you embraced the experience, had the absolute time of your life, playing the game that you love, it was honestly just inspiring. And it's not just about you. Like before you'd even played, you were looking up people from my table, bringing me stuff that I wasn't even asking for. When I needed a pep talk, I said to you, I'm struggling. You were there 20 minutes before the break even happened, just to settle me down and tell me what I needed to do. So I know you're not doing these things because you're representing a brand or you care about your image. You're just doing them because you're a properly good lad that loves the game. And I just wanted to say, I think you conducted yourself unbelievably well, and you should be very proud.
I really appreciate that. And I've always said that I feel like I'm the worst version of myself when I'm streaming online poker. I'm just in that locked in zone, and it's not who I am. At that point, it's what I'm doing, right? Like it's how I function well in that situation. But when I'm out of my office, I feel like I'm a much better and different person, and not everyone gets to see that. And I'm just glad that I got to showcase some of that during the main event. And it wasn't only you. Like I felt so connected to other players in this game, and was seeing them in the hallway and at the tables, cheering them on. There's many left in the main that I've played with, and I'd be happy if any of them win, and so it was just an incredible experience. I feel grateful to have had it. I mean, I felt grateful last year, and this year somehow was even better.
Yeah, that's well said, man. And congratulations once again. We do have a job to do this evening, straight back down, I guess, to earth. So yeah, huge congratulations for the last time to Aaron. $125,000 for 65th place in the main event. And in true ambassadorial fashion, busted just in time to get home.
Oh, yeah.
And cover me for this main event. Because if you can't tell, guys, my voice not doing so hot. Air conditioning out in Vegas, not very kind to me. So we've got 4 or 5 minutes now to go through what we normally go through on a Monday. We're very grateful to Josh and Ricardo, who covered for us last week while we were playing said main event. And yeah, we are now going to do what we do. I was about to say what we do best, but it's maybe what I do best. It's probably what you do second best, but apparently. But here we are. I believe that player picks. I think it might be my turn to choose.
Well, I think it's always your turn.
Yeah, so no, because you tried to pull that on me, and I said no, I don't want to go first. Remember last time?
That's right. And I picked. And then you picked vibes, and then
and then you went on the vibes to like try and have a reason. Exactly. So it's my pick, and you know who I'm picking. You already know. Look, I got to welcome back into the commentating streets. You're not a player right now. I know how much you hate it when these things happen, even after you've come 65th in the main event. Somebody's won the big bounty and they're on the final table, Aaron. How much does that annoy you? And does it annoy you even more that I'm going to be picking them? Because that man is João Matthias, 8,500 already locked up in bounties, an average stake of $245, 86 final tables. I am just going to go with them because I know how much that bothers you.
To clarify, it doesn't bother me that they made the final table. It will bother me if they win a little bit. It feels like I'd like the wealth to be spread out a bit and more people have a great time and win money at the table and not one person just hungry hippos all the money. But it is a great pick. They are a great player and clearly have been doing pretty well in this tournament so far. My pick, however, is someone who I think deserves to win. And I'm not saying that your pick doesn't, but I want mine to, they put in 5 bullets, which love it. Love the courage, love the heart. And they actually finished second in our mystery bounty here, our main event bounty a few weeks ago. And you'd be like, really? I don't remember. What did you commentate that, Aaron? Actually, no, I didn't, because that's because I was playing. They finished second to me in that tournament. And so I think they are, they are deserving. They're owed. And so I'm going with Zakafu.
Zakafu. They did pop into the stream afterwards as well. So be good to see them have another deep run. So yeah, Zakafu is going to be that one. It's going to be the free roll password as well, guys. We're straight back into the nitty gritty of things. 888 luck 13 is your password. If you'd like to play today's free roll, you want to go into the 888 Poker client. It's 888 Poker TV special free roll. That'll be in purple and you'll be able to register that with the password 888 luck 13. Now, if you are observant, you'll know there's a minute left and there's one more thing to cover before we begin today's main event final table. Now, Aaron, I've heard that this is an exceptionally close call this week. There are a lot of moving parts and things that need to be considered, but it is your very, very tough job to award this week's Ambassador of the Week. And Brody, who is it?
It's funny. Normally I have a notepad and I write all this stuff out. I didn't even consider writing anything for Ambassador of the Week this week. There's no, I have to convince anybody? Really? Just, watch the last week of the main event. And I think that's enough. You know, like I had my deepest run ever in the main, my biggest score ever in the main, and ever actually. My Hendon mob has now tripled from before. There was a point last week where we were concerned as a company that we wouldn't have enough ambassadors make deep runs where we'd have content. I solved that problem. And so I think for that alone, I should be ambassador of the week. If you don't think so, you're wrong, but good game.
There we go, guys. Ambassador of the week is Aaron Baroni. Thought I might have a chance because I also had a pretty good score this week. I believe it's my third highest score also. Anyway, that's actually not as high the score as when I bested you on the final table. So still got that going for me, which is nice.
You
do. Right, guys. I think that's everything covered somehow. We managed to get it all in. It's great to have you all here. We are now just waiting for the final moments before we pop up our final table and we get to take you into this week's action. Now, there is a good chance, guys, that there'll be some more play-by-play Baroni this week because I don't know how much of a final table my voice is going to manage. I have been extremely sick since the end of last week. And Aaron continues to run unbelievably good because it looks like Zakafu wasn't just a fluke, Aaron. 4 million chips here heading into the FT.
What do you know? He actually plays a tournament that I'm not in, and he somehow has all the chips, you know? Again, he was actually one card away from having the chip lead heads up when I spiked a River 9. So, you know, again, this is his chance at redemption, and he has enough chips to battle with for sure. Your player, however, does win the first pot, which is good.
We take those. Yeah. I'm actually a fourth in chips, but there's a small pile of middling stacks there, and then I've got obviously a few others that are below the million mark. As soon as we do have the ability to put on big blinds, we'll do that. But for now, pocket fours in the big blind for Zakafu, and it just the week just gets better for Aaron Baroni.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to mention too, guys, is there is a big bounty left in play. I believe there's a 3.2k bounty left in play. So Zakafu might be a little more aggressive than normal and go after it. And this spot looks pretty good for it, and he does it.
Yeah, he's going to bang it in. And Georgian opening the ace-9 offsuit there. With the bounty in play, do you feel with the big blind being the big stack, it might be a little bit too loose? How would you be adjusting your strategy based on the fact that they're going to be getting it in fairly liberally, and if you don't be opening too many hands that you're not happy to call off with?
Yeah, I think ace-9 might be one of the hands that you're okay with raise folding. I think if you get down, if you think your opponent's going to be too aggressive, though, you might want to have to start calling hands like ace-10, where normally be a pretty easy raise fold. You do want to tighten up your range, but having some parts of your range that raise fold is still pretty reasonable.
We've got Banana Ula here, who is in the big blind. This looks like a small stack, but it's not completely unplayable. That's for sure. Can't really do anything with the king 3 offsuit here. He's just going to let that one go.
And they are very short to start here, but they have done well in previous A-Late Poker main events, so I wouldn't count them out just yet.
No, certainly not. Anyone can win this. We've seen a lot happen before. Short stacks coming back into the game. Big stacks that start don't end up winning the tournament. It's not always as simple as it looks. Zakafu here with another opportunity to be aggressive. Will they be just taking all of those? Ace-9 offsuit here on the button.
It's a pretty good spot. I mean, they can afford to lose a bit. And so, you know, here we are. Like, he put in another 3-bet. That 3.2k bounty still in play does play a pretty big role. It incentivizes them to be more aggressive than normal. And even in a spot without any bounties at all, it's a good spot to be aggressive. So really going to put some pressure on these short stacks, and there are many of them. Pretty much everybody is either really short, kind of short, or middle. And that's going to allow Zakafu to put a lot of pressure and hopefully chip up. Yeah,
we haven't seen probably this much of a disparity for a while, I would say, in terms of chip stacks. I mean, Cafu with a monumental advantage, and the fact that that bounty's out there, it kind of gives them the liberty to be like, well, I guess I'm just going to be really aggressive. If something goes wrong, I guess I'm playing for 3.2k.
Yeah, and they'd be ecstatic here if Button puts the money in. Obviously, they'd be way behind, but having that shot at 3.2k bounties is pretty good. And, you know, they're going to have the worst hand here if Big Blind does defend, which we expect, but the ability to put pressure on their opponents is going to serve them really well.
Yeah, 6,500 for first in this one, and 3,000, like you said, 3,200 for the bounty. It's a significant amount of money in comparison to the ladders. $640 for eighth, $840 for seventh. So, you know, Cafu, not just with the chips to look to win the tournament, but a massive part of this final table is having the chips to give yourself a chance to win that bounty and look at yourself locking up. I mean, you're going to be the best part of 10K at that point.
Yeah, and here they are drawing dead. Opponent has a fairly strong hand, and this one big blind lead might tempt Cafu to do something spicy. He just folds. Good fold. You know, sometimes that one big blind lead in a spot where you know your opponent doesn't want to put a lot of money in will induce some aggression, but Cafu gets out of the way, thankfully for me and for him.
Yeah, Cafu's going to be back in the mix now, though, and Zhao with 2 6s. Yuri with ace jack. These guys know that Cafu is playing basically every hand. Do they get themselves into trouble here?
Yeah, I think that a flat makes sense from Zhao. Could also just fold. Interesting to see here what Yuri wants to do with the ace jack. Just folds it.
I'm going to flick it in the marker now. Palada with a chance to complete here, which I assume is what they will do. We're going to go after a flop, which is 8-10 king, a set for Zakafu. And when you're being this aggressive, it seems almost unreasonable to have a set.
Yeah, and it's actually really good that they have bottom set here. Obviously, you know, if you're at home, you're like, wouldn't you rather have a set of kings? Like, it's a better hand, yes, but having the bottom set will unblock hands like king, queen, king, jack, or jack 10, ace 10. Unfortunately for Cafu, not much in the way of equity for his opponents. Paulada does have a gut shot straight draw, but lets it go.
Yeah, no backdoor flush draw, which I think would have been the tipping point for continuing there for Paulada. Kings is a fairly reasonable tipping point as well. And here come the big blinds as Sergio gets dealt pocket nines under the gun. Paulada here could be in with a chance of picking up potential bounty here. Banan with pocket fours, but versus a gun open doesn't seem that appealing.
Yeah, in this spot, you're either crushed or you're flipping. You have no fold equity. I think folding is what I would do in this spot, and he does get out of the way, which actually might get him a ladder at this point if Sergio's unable to get away from pocket nines.
Yeah, and obviously Sergio not covering Paulada and may believe that just by virtue of being covered, Paulada may be being a little bit more aggressive and nines therefore may be in some good shape, but we know that that is not the case. And here comes the small raise. How does the bounty affect your get-in ranges here in these positions?
You do expect your opponent to be a little more aggressive. Still, under the gun, it's going to be where Sergio does have the tightest range. And I think this is a sort of board where both players are unhappy with, but Sergio is the one who is likely to fold to, you know, a bet of any reasonable size. He does decide to float one.
Yeah, got clean set outs on the turn. You know, if you hit a 9, you're probably going to be getting the rest here more often than not. Paulada won't be happy with this flop either, by the way, in the ace-high board. But Sergio has to imagine that all those pocket pairs that are above 9s and all those ace-X's that will 3-bet deciding out of the small blind, you're probably in with a very, very small chance, if any, of showing this down and winning.
Yeah, and I wonder if Paulada here is going to have a small little block bet, hoping to get a value from 9s, 10s, jacks, not lose that much from ace 5 suited, ace 10 suited. And he does block and does get called.
Yeah, here comes 10% and call. And I wonder whether, obviously we saw a very quick call there from Sergio, who was getting obviously an amazing price and hoping to beat maybe something like King Queen. Is there anything to be said about Sergio being low in range there? You know, is there any way you would want to attack that? And if not, what hands would you want to attack that river block with?
I think that when you are low in range, it's a good idea to, you know, use those hands as your bluffs. I don't think he's gonna have any hands that block value. If you think your opponent has a hand that doesn't want to call a big bet, and that's why they put out a block bet, you know, it's in your interest to put out a big bet, right? Do the thing your opponent doesn't really want you to do. It seems fairly obvious, but it's very effective.
So the last remaining 5 in the deck rolls off here on this flop as Paulada turns a full house after flopping a set of 5s. Cafu, though, with a hand that probably wants to begin showing down, so won't get themselves into an inordinate amount of trouble here. And the funny thing is, when there's a huge bounty in play, is Cafu doesn't really want to involve themselves in spots where they, can't win when all in, if that makes sense. They want to spend their chips being all in with a chance to win the bounty. And hands that, show down well don't really do a good job of that, obviously. So it's probably the kind of spot that Cafu might just want to avoid, and try and find more spots where you can manipulate stacks into the middle with some degree of equity and look after that bounty.
Correct. And, I say Pallotta got unlucky that Cafu actually had some showdown. If Cafu had nothing, we might have seen another barrel.
Yeah, definitely true. Sergio here with Jack 7 of clubs. And remember, guys, that bounty is in play. So Old Null, despite having 13 big blinds, is going to call this one off and try to look for that queen or a 3. Unfortunately, now needs a jack. And there is a jack on the river, and Banan only got called there because of the bounty, because Old Null wasn't risking a huge portion of their stack to get involved. And now there's a chance. Will we see any zeros here? We're looking for the 3,200, and there is the 2. I thought it was going to be the 32, but it's the 200 for Old Null, and now it just makes it even more likely the next one's 32.
Well done to the graphics department. We don't normally have a sweat on the bounties. I've always asked for it, and it looks like now we're getting it.
That definitely was. It had me. I was already sold the whole way. I mean, it's going to look exactly the same. Can't blame me for going early there. I was pretty excited. Going to get an open here from Zhao, who's going to pick it up. And, while Cafu is out there in front, I don't know whether it's because a few people have won some pots or, just Cafu's had to relinquish a couple. It looks a lot closer in big blinds than it did when Cafu had 4 million. Yeah,
it does. And we'll see how much pressure Cafu wants to apply to the stacks on his left. Again, that 3,200 bounty still in play is going to make a difference, and probably will make the action go a lot faster. People are going to be more aggressive. They're going to be calling wider, as we just saw. If that bounty was gone, we would see more of a traditional gameplay by our opponents here. But here, until that bounty is out of play, people will be, putting their foot on the gas pedal, trying to get money in the middle when they cover.
Yeah, such a huge portion of this prize pool remaining, that 3,200. Zhao here going to open to 3.9. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Zhao so far. Nothing entangled so far, but he has picked up a few pots, which has served them well so far. And avoiding Cafu by virtue of being on their left is ideal.
Yeah, it is a great seat for Zhao, all things considered. And if he can chip up a little bit more, maybe he can actually start to put pressure on the players to his left.
Yeah, here comes Cafu again, who will be aggressive. Pallotta, though, will have something to say about this in the big blind with ace-10 offsuit.
Just saw an ace-10 folded. Hurts Pallotta's equity, but
there are others in the deck.
There are.
10-3-3 here. Rainbow. Cafu with zilch, and Pallotta with about as good as you can get, but will not be looking to put 50 big blinds in, and certainly not on the King of Hearts turn. Cafu now with very little equity, but a lot to be happy about in terms of this king. The ability to represent it, and now looking extremely uncomfortable for Pallotta, who, may not think that an ace would give them the best hand, may think that only a 10 would help them now. It's a tough spot versus 2/3 pot.
It is, but against Cafu, who's been so aggressive, I'm not surprised to see a call.
Well, there's another one. We said there was an ace-10 missing. We found the remaining 2. 10 of clubs, 10 of spades paying a visit. Pallotta considering lead here. Thinking that a king may check back quickly, wants to maybe extract some more value from their 10. It's taking a long time to think about this. He's going to lead for half pot.
You got to wonder what bluffs Pallotta will ever have here, that check call flop and check call turn. I can't really think of many that queen high beat, right? Like maybe you had like a queen 9 of hearts or a jack 9 of hearts, but that probably just folds flop. So, I think a pretty easy fold from the queen 7 from Cafu. I think even a king in that spot, if you think about what range your opponent probably has, a king should probably fold.
And what do you make of the lead there? Just a product of the fact that 2/3 pot on the turn is meaning that Cafu's basically saying they don't have a 10, and Pallotta's going to have all of their 10x that called the flop.
I think a lot of people don't bluff on that run out, because you just think, how does my opponent have any hand that's going to actually fold? And so in that case, it's better to bet for value and hope they have just enough to call. even a 3 in that spot might check back the river. So if a 3 is going to check back, the only way you get value is by them bluffing a spot that seems underbluffed, or betting yourself and hoping they just get curious. I think in a live setting, as I've been recently, people get a little too curious, so betting might make sense.
I didn't know about that. You played live recently?
For a little bit here and there. Did okay.
Cool. Right. Well, another time, maybe we'll talk about that. Yeah. Georgian here picks up a flusher on the turn, still with that gut shot, but 2 pair for Cafu, who will not enjoy the 4 of spades all that much. Georgian here. I mean, it has to be somewhat of a comfort to know that, you know, if you get check shoved on here on the turn, playing for a bounty. I mean, if they have me, they have me. I can put it up, I guess. You know, at least there's no real decision, right? You can think you're behind, but it's still correct to call.
That is one of my favorite parts about playing bounty tournaments online, is I just get to put money in and go, that's probably fine.
Yeah, and it usually is.
Yeah.
There's an average bounty right now, I guess, if we do 3,000 divided by 7, something in the region of 500. Ladders are not currently, if we add up all the little ones as well, that'd be a little bit more. The ladders are currently 300, just about 300. So the average bounty worth more than the current ladder, which does affect decisions.
It does. And there are 2 short stacks here. And so all the other players are, you know, really hoping they get an opportunity to go after one of their bounties. And someone will.
Yeah, and it's tough for these short stacks because 8 big blinds, you're looking for a hand to shove. You're looking for, you know, typically like a Jack 10 suited will do nicely. But when you're getting called by Queen 3, Jack 10 becomes a lot less good. You're looking for more high cards. You're looking for pairs, right?
Yeah, you definitely want to have more high card showdown value. Typically, like if you have a 10 big blind shove and you have a hand like 8-7 suited, it's pretty fine. But in this sort of format, people are going to call you with the king deuce, or as we just saw, the queen 3. So you want to have more of the high card hands just because of that has a better chance to actually win. And that's really the goal, isn't it? To win.
Winning. Yeah.
Yes.
Not to come 65th, is to win.
I did beat several thousand players.
That sounds like your mom talking.
She put it on Facebook. Yeah, many times. 8,000 players. He's beaten 7,000 of them.
You knocked them all out yourself. Wow.
I did.
How did you not win?
I used up all my run good clearly. And here we go. Cafu going for a bounty.
Going for it, and Georgian with one of those exact hands that we were just talking about, right? In really good shape against random stuff that just wants to get it in and try and win a bounty, right? Mm-hmm. You know, the suited connectors of this world, if they're getting it in, having middling pairs that can dominate hands like this is just going to go massively, massively up in value.
Yeah, and if Georgian has ace king, ace queen, ace jack, Cafu's not too disappointed to get in that spot, but unfortunately he found the worst hand he could be up against.
Yeah, it couldn't be any worse than pocket 8s. Obviously, even if Cafu sees 7s there, you know, they're not too fussed about it. I mean, even still, they're like, diamonds maybe, or who knows? You know, 3.5K out there to try and win. We could have an interesting one here though. João Mateus is going to open up the kings, and Paulada won't be going anywhere just yet with the queen 10 suited, and I don't expect to see 3-bet. Just because our hand is a little bit too good to face further action. Well, it's a little bit too good for João. Now, as Paulada flops top 2 pair here, button versus big blind, this is huge problems for João.
Yeah, has a hand that definitely wants to bet for value here. And with an overpair, it's tough to get away from. Your opponent could still have worse top pairs or bluffs. We'll see how Paulada plays it here on the flop.
Yeah, definitely the option to go ahead and be aggressive here. Decides that the hand is too good and just goes for call. The 5 of spades, by the way. Paulada's hand continues to get stronger, continues to increase their equity in this one. And Mateus will be thinking, wow, this turn card's pretty beautiful. I'm looking to just put a geometric bet size in here and look to size for my river. But they don't know that they're significantly behind in this hand.
Yeah, way behind here. Likely to bet the turn here for value. Oh, they just check it back.
Going to check, and that might be the only way that they save themselves here from getting stacked, as Paulada now with the opportunity to go for value themselves. Do they thread in another check, hope that Mateus maybe value bets something like a 10, but when they have a 10 themselves, it seems unlikely that'd be the case, and Mateus is just going to call, and I have to say there are some unreal savings been made there on that turn check.
Very easily, he could have decided to bet the turn, and on that 3 river, put the rest in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what I would have done, and I'd be out of this tournament. So credit to Zhao for sticking around here, and still having 24 big blinds to fight on with.
One of those weird spots where the winner of the pot is probably less happy than the loser of the pot.
Yeah,
Zhao's got to be thinking, wow, I've got 24 big blinds left, I should have 0. And Paul Arda's thinking, I should have the whole stack. I should have 100 big blinds right now. I should be chip leader.
and potentially have a $3,000 bounty.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, definitely the case as well. Huge amount of equity in that one hand. And, Paul Arda went for the big value bet on the river, decided that was the best way to get the most value. Couldn't have imagined, I don't think, that Zhao had a hand as good as 2 kings in that situation. Was expecting them to bet that always, and obviously just went for the hopeful, here's pot, bluff catch me, please. They did bluff catch, I suppose, but
that is something I've noticed actually fairly recently. I mean, I saw it before, but I'm paying attention more now. That is a bet people make where they're like, oh my God, please just have something and call me. The pot size bet is almost always that sort of hand, and I'm trying to find myself folding to it more, but
Paul Arda took a second there with Queen 3. We've seen the Queen 3 already be successful. How close is that? Because obviously 17 big blinds you could afford. Terrible hand, and obviously versus a strong range. Do you have any idea what the get-in range is? I think it's probably, we've talked about this before, that the least sold part of this game, Mystery Bounty. Do you have any idea what a get-in range would look like there for Paul Arda or a raise call?
I think it's actually only a few notches wider than they would call normally. It's not that much more. Because you think about just future game equity is if they lose that pot, they're down to like 45 big blinds, and the gap between them and the chip leader is wider. So I think you actually do want to fold that. But like if they had like Jack 10 suited, that would seem way too loose in a normal game. But in this one, I think that's a fine call. Remember, it is a $3,200 bounty in play, but the equity of that bounty itself is split among the remaining players. So it's only a $500 bounty, basically, when you knock a player out, and the pay jumps are about to get in line with that number.
Yeah, and Georgian did go for the shove, which is obviously reasonable, 17 big blinds. It's a hand that you might want to 3-bet small with. Does the fact that there's a big bounty out there make it just more attractive just to shove pre and hope to be called because people are going to be calling wider?
Yeah, I mean, in that spot, any pair might decide just to call, right? Because there's a bounty shot. A small 3-bet and maybe a tiny pair gets scared, or you get someone to peel a weird hand, which in theory is good, but Georgian does have to worry about 2 potential pay jumps now, right? Like they have 2 players they're ahead of, and they might want to prioritize survival over accumulation.
Yeah, absolutely. Cafu hit against Zhao. Our first clash of the day. Zhao with a little bit less than they'd like, but certainly more than they'd expect to have after that recent escapade with Paul Arda 85, and here comes a call from Zhao, just 8 high here for Cafu, who has again found themselves on a turn with nothing at all in terms of equity. Zhao here with 5 high. Cafu actually has the best hand, funnily enough, but Zhao with the only thing that you could describe as equity. Does Zhao decide to take that equity to the river, or do they bet the turn? We know a bet on the turn would end matters now, but Zhao may not want to waste that potential. And now we are in a very funny situation where both players think they couldn't possibly win unless they put money into the pot. And Cafu may just go for a small value bet here on the river, Aaron.
I just don't think he expects it to win very often, especially he blocks diamonds.
Now Zhao can't possibly tap the table with 5 high. I'd imagine this will be a bet. There's 2. Just hoping to fold out pretty much exactly what Cafu has, right? 10-9, 10-8, 8 high. Anything like that you check back and lose to would just be a disaster.
Yeah, and he does bluff out the best hand. And you can't blame Cafu for folding. He has 8 high, and he blocks some of the bluffs that Zhao could have. Really good for Zhao, though, to bet the river there, realizing, he has one of the worst possible hands ever. And, if you bet, you can actually fold out some better hands. I imagine in that spot, the player in position is actually the one who's going to win that pot more often, even if their hands are reversed. If, both players really were like, well, I have the worst hand. And again, I don't blame either player for playing exactly how they did.
Yeah, it looked good to me as well. Cafu just deciding not to bluff everything just to make sure they're not doing too much of it, especially against a player like Zhao, who does seem very, very capable. Yuri here, facing the button open of Cafu, who's definitely as loose as I remember from the game that you played against them. Likes to get involved.
As they should. Who doesn't?
Yeah, you've certainly done your fair share of being involved this week. I did less so. I tried.
You know, we both got the money all in on day 2 at one point, but you made the mistake of having pocket aces, and I made the mistake, or made the correct decision of having ace king.
Yeah.
So I hope there's a lesson there for you. You know.
Yeah, don't get it in with 70% equity, guys. Get it in with 50.
Yes.
48 or whatever it was.
And do it against a former bracelet winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't do it against the Whopper. Look, guys, there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can control. And there's a very good chance that if I had won that all in, I wouldn't have controlled it as well as Aaron did for the next 5 days. So we obviously jesting.
Maybe. I mean, who knows? You know?
Who knows? I'll never know, unfortunately. Smallest violin. Yes, that's kind of my remit, Smokey. That's just kind of what I do. We did get it in. We had aces against pocket sevens on.
Yeah, I mean, I know this is your segment. It's not about me, but I also lost a big pot with aces at one point. Just so we're clear.
Yeah, you did win a little bit more money than I did, though. So forgive me if I.
That's fine.
Struggle for sympathy. Thank you, Smokey. No, it's all good. It's the game. You know, so there was still a long way to go. It was only in 100 big blind pot on day 2 of the main event. Sure, I'll be fine.
Old Null in some trouble here.
Yeah, Old Null is in trouble.
Bottom 2.
Reminds me a little bit of your hand on the feature table.
It does. Great fold from Old Null.
You should have tried that.
It wasn't 3-handed, and it was for less. But yes, I should have. If I really wish. And it's funny. I after playing the table for several orbits, because that was my first orbit at the table, and I didn't know that opponent, I would have called off even faster if I knew what I know now.
Yeah, sometimes there's nothing you can do. Paul Arder, by the way, in our YouTube chat today. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome. It's good to have you here. We have an all-in from Old Nor and a call from Yuri here is hand qualifiers, that's for sure. 9 big blinds off the top of their stack to volunteer into this one to try and make something happen. And that's a pretty good flop for trying to win this bounty. 4 on the turn, though, does change the equity somewhat this time, and 6 of clubs on the river is a really brutal one. And you have to imagine Yuri's thinking, that's annoying, but I better not see someone bust Old Nor and win 3.2k, because that would really bother me.
Yeah, there are times I'll make a note on my opponent at that point. We'll say, like, I want to know what their bounty is when they bust XX tournament, you know, because I would have had this. Now, it is very toxic and unhelpful, but it is a note that I will make.
Yeah, absolutely. Sergio here is probably going to have to go with these 2 6s. When you're the 2 6s here, you're like, oh, this is so annoying because I'm going to give them a chance to win a bounty. I really don't want them to win a bounty. Do you ever feel like that? I mean, that's equally toxic.
It is, but I also feel it.
Well, here we go. Cafu's going to be flipping here to try and find that 3,200 bounty. Gut shot flopped, as well as those 2 overs. Still holding on now is Sergio, 8.5 in there, and they hold again. 8.5 goes over to Sergio. Cafu had a couple of stabs at this bounty now, yet to find anything. Down to 81 big blinds, though, and still in the lead, and still more opportunities sure to present themselves to find this bounty over the course of the FT.
Yeah, and all the other players at the table, while they would love to get Sergio's bounty, they were still rooting for Cafu to get a ladder. And great opportunity still for Cafu and potentially Pallotta to put some pressure on the other stacks. Everyone else under 28 big blinds.
Yeah, huge amount of lead here for Cafu. As long as they dodge Paul Arder, they're going to have some very comfortable pots. Always able to fall back on the fact that bounty is out there. They could try to win. Pair versus pair here as Yuri flops top. Jamie Gold. Saw Jamie Gold this week. That was fun.
I did too.
He looks the same.
He does. It's
20 years.
Some people don't age. There was another player I saw who I was like, how did he not age? Especially when you play all that poker.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I feel about 10 years older having played poker for about 3 days.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how people live in that city, to be honest with you. I always end up getting ill. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm making poor decisions. I don't know. But
every table I was at, there was somebody coughing. And for the first couple of days, the person would say something like, well, just so you know, guys, it's the dry cough. It's the air conditioning. I'm not used to this. Da, da, da. And then I think it was on day 4, the guy to my left said, oh, I'm pretty sick, everyone. I'm like, oh, great. Hooray.
I mean, you spent a lot of time with me and I was extremely ill.
I was shocked that I didn't get ill. Like, I kept thinking I was going to.
Yeah.
And I just dodged that bullet. So very, very lucky in that regard, because I just thought for sure I'm going to get sick. Somehow
I do try to cover my germs as much as possible. Although at one point I was, while you were playing, in your room, sleeping on your bed. So I assume that might be what got you at the end. But it looks like you're okay, which is good.
So far, so good.
Yeah, I think you faded it. I think you're right. Maybe I wasn't toxic by then. You know,
maybe. Yeah.
I don't know how this stuff works. People are like, "Oh, I'm already past the infectious stage." I'm like, "Come on, there's no way that's a thing, is there?"
People just say that when they want to go outside.
Yeah.
Zakafu, unconventional raise on the flop, gets George in a fold. Really does put a lot of pressure on all of his hands that aren't big draws or overpairs. And Cafu had a hand that blocks some of the flush draws and the overpairs. So it actually makes sense from that perspective. I wouldn't have found it, but well played.
They were basically like, no, excuse me. That's my board. You're not allowed to do that. Interesting spot developing here, though, for Georgian, by the way, because while we know that Cafu's after bounties, how loosely is Cafu going to be doing it? Well, they decided to go with it, and this is a massive, massive spot for all these players. Oh. Sergio, oh, wow, a turn set for Cafu. Sergio can still win this with a spade on the river and does so. So there is going to be a bust here. We're going to lose Georgian. Sergio's going to win the main pot. Cafu with the side pot and now gets to open that bounty. We're looking for zeros here for Cafu, who's done his utmost to win this bounty so far. It starts with a 7, so it's not going to be 3,200. And that average bounty increases, and we ladder further. $840 there for 7th place, and 1,188 coming up for 6th.
Really unlucky for Georgian. Had a spot where, you know, he has Cafu dominated and can just win a pretty big pot there. And if he wins that flip against Sergio, he's one of the chip leaders. Sergio, by the way, goes from 3 big blinds a few hands ago all the way up to 25.2, not counting the big blind already in there. Great spin up for them. And my last comment on that hand is, can we please fix the decimal points in the bounties? I don't care where that money goes. Take it out of the prize pool. Give it to Nick. Totally fine. But like, just let us have the sweat. I'm sure everybody in the game would say, take the 57 cents out and give me the sweat.
Aaron already calling shots 2 days after busting the main in 65th place. Boogie, thank you very much for that. I appreciate you very much. I have cashed twice, and hopefully I will be back. You never know when the last time you play the main is, but hopefully Aaron's performance has inspired them to send not just Aaron next time.
I'm going to be playing the 50Ks, the 100Ks.
Yeah. So unless I'm concerned the budget is going to be transferred.
What a dream.
So we got a question here from Money, but I guess you're a better place to answer this than me, although I have been watching a fair part of it. Who do you have making the August 9? And something about a time clock, which I'm not sure if you want to get into or not, but congrats on your big run as well.
Well, thank you very much, Money. So when there was 108 players left, my table and I were talking about who we wanted to make it. And I said, there's probably 58 players in this field I want to make it. And that's just the people I've played with or the people that I know. And as I get more familiar with other people's stories, they can be added to that list. I don't know who's still left, but if I played with somebody, I want them to make it almost entirely. There's like maybe 4 players I played with the whole week that I wasn't a super big fan of, but they were just locked in and weren't interested in any sort of banter and like, hey, fair play. We are playing for 10 million. But I think Sean Deeb is one who for sure is still in, and he's someone I'm going to root for just because he was a former online mass tabler guy who transitioned to live poker, has done very well, player of the year twice. And people say he can be a little bit off-putting, but he knew who I was, laughed at my jokes, seemed to like me. He's great.
You're easy to please, aren't you?
I am. Just say nice things and be rude to everyone else.
I'd say if I'm picking somebody, it'd probably be Malcolm Trainer. He's been very impressive. He also happens to be chip leader, but that's what I do. I pick chip leaders, guys. That's where the money goes.
It's fair.
They've been very impressive, so I would probably say them. And they seem like a fun person. So
I played a big pot on day 6, I guess, with Tolga Karakaya.
Here we go. Yeah, Zhao going with the big little, going to get jammed on here. And part of the allure of the big little, Aaron, is that you get to snap fold when you get shoved on.
Yes, I did try that at one point during the main. My opponent called, and I got to barrel off 3 streets with the old King 7. So
another part of the allure.
Yes.
I assume they folded.
No.
Oh. Well, if you just listened to me for the best part of half a year, you wouldn't have done it. It's overdone.
I literally tried it one time.
I've done it one time as well. Mine was also in the main. I 3-bet a guy that was opening every single hand, button versus big blind versus button. And I 3-bet with ace 4 offsuit. And that guy took about 4 minutes to fold pre. I was like, oh God. And it was like a quarter of my stack. I was like, oh, please don't jam. It was really close to the money as well.
It's funny. I'm always hoping for please jam or please fold. Don't flat. Don't make me bet more.
I've already committed this.
Yeah. But yeah, I just looked at the list right now, and Tolga's still in, who I played a big pot with. Mario Booz, who I played a bit with, who made a very funny joke at our feature table. Brock Wilson, I'm familiar with. Sean Deeb still in. So those are players that I've played with that I'm really rooting for. But again, as the event goes on, I get to see more coverage. I'll just root for more players, get familiar with them. Really excited to see who makes it. Oh, Hussein and San. He was really nice to me.
Yeah, he's a fun guy for sure. And San. He's running rather well as well, has to be said.
Oh, I mean, he didn't complain. He made a slight little comment about something being difficult after his opponents had one opponent put all the money in with Jack 3 on Queen Jack 5 when he had kings. And another time, another opponent put all the money with King Queen on Queen 9-4 when he had a set of 9s. And Sean Deeb said, yeah, you're really running bad, huh? Tough decisions for you.
They're very hard to compartmentalize. Here we go, by the way. Zhao, all in. Yuri, about to make Aaron Baroni's week even better unless Zhao can find a king on the river to make a straight. They will not find a king. Yuri with a full house. Zhao is out of there in a very respectable 6th place and will take home $1,188.
Can Yuri find the 3,200 bounty?
Here it comes. There's zeros, and I think that's going to be good enough. And there's a comma as well on 3,200. My boy Zhao worth a 3,200. Yuri finds the spot and takes down the big bounty. And now everyone goes back to normal.
Yeah, and Zhao's a really solid player, worth knocking out for 3,200. It would make sense. Congrats, Yuri, on winning that big bounty. And, Zhao could have gone out earlier, right? That king's hand, they could have been out 7th. So they do get a ladder, actually 2 ladders. Just one, whatever. Counting's hard. But congrats to them on their run here. They did find the biggest bounty, so 8,500 plus this score. Very, very solid result.
Absolutely. Final table says Anderson has a VP of 8 to 10. Well, that's how often he's been dealt kings and aces. I don't know what you want from him.
VP of 8. I mean, he was opening Jack 6 offsuit at our feature, and Sean Deeb was telling him how disrespectful it was to do that into his big blind.
I'm sure in jest.
Oh yeah. Well, a little bit of both. The thing is that we had a really fun time at that feature table just chatting about things. And that was a very different vibe compared to my previous feature. That they were friendly, but I felt a lot more pressure. So I wasn't allowing myself to get involved in it too much. It was a great table aside from the fact that they were all very good and I didn't have any good hands. Aside from that, great table.
Right. Guys, it's time to give you something back. We've done a lot of talking about Aaron today, and I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, are sick of it. So, if you would like to win a $109 ticket, we're going to play a game called Aaron Thinks. And this question is going to be about, you guessed it, Aaron and his deep run in the main event. Now, don't worry, guys. I'm not going to glaze him. We're going to give him a little thinly veiled jab. And you guys are going to have to figure out what Aaron thinks the answer to this question is, guys. No duplicate answers, only guess one time. If your guess is already taken, you may guess once more. You're looking for the answer that Aaron thinks is the answer to the question I'm about to ask him. The closest person will win a $109 ticket. Everyone clear?
I don't understand why we couldn't glaze me more. We couldn't spend the whole time doing that, but all right.
I am all out of glaze.
Okay.
Aaron, you just came 65th in the World Series of Poker main event for 125 bags, as we call it in England. But a little flat here from Yuri. This could get interesting. Do you want to hold the fort?
Yeah, hold off here. We'll see how much Cafu wants to put pressure on it. Like when Yuri flats, Cafu has to think he doesn't have that many super strong hands. And, he does block some of the 2-pair combos that Yuri's going to continue with for 3 barrels. But Cafu finds a check here.
Yeah, I think if Cafu had something like Queen 5 or 10-5, they may elect to barrel those. Having a 5 always nice, obviously, because the big blind's going to have a lot of maybe 2 pairs that include a 5 if they are going to have 2 pairs. So those are their strongest hands, and removing them is pretty good, right? And you can hit a 5 on the river. So like you said, maybe we could have seen a barrel there. We didn't see one, and that means that we can talk about the Aaron Thinks. Aaron, I guess I'll say again, you just came 65th in the World Series Poker main event for $125,000. Yeah.
We call it bags. Yeah.
There was a lot of criticism of how long you were taking to make decisions. Over the course of your 6 days in the main event, how many minutes did you spend tanking?
So are we calling tanking as the amount of time it took me to make a river bet? Does that count? Or like
any decision that you made, how much tanking?
Okay, but tanking implies like a certain amount of time, I feel like. Might have an all-in on a call here.
We very well could have. Gonna get a call. This is another slow play here, this time from Sergio, and Oldnall here may well get away from the 654. I'm just thinking of any amount of time you spent thinking about a decision over 6 days in the World Series of Poker main event.
Oh my God, I don't even know how to count that. Can I just amend it briefly and just say anytime my decision took more than like a minute?
Sure, if you want to use those.
Just because, like, in my mind, that's what tanking is. I don't want to do it where I took 12 seconds to raise pre, and that's
that's understandable.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so minute plus decisions. If you already put your answer out in there, too bad. That's a shame. Unlucky.
Well, some people are guessing in the dark, so
that's fine.
Yeah, we're looking for how long Aaron spent tanking, with the definition of tanking being anything over the minute. So any amount of minutes spent over 1 minute on any decision over the course of the week, 6 days at the World Series of Poker. We are going to have it all in the call here, Aaron.
We expect so.
Oldnall is going to probably do some jamming. It may even be too strong to do so. They're going to jam, going to get snap called. They're going to be in much worse shape than they would have been hoping for there, even against the snap. Needs to find an ace or a king of the river. Doesn't do so. Oldnall's out there. There is no bounty sweat this time. And Zakafu is just going to pick up 22 big blinds for their troubles. Oldnall going to be out there in fifth, $1,604. Guys, there's nothing stopping you from waiting to hear that the question's been fully clarified before you answer. I know you're all excited to answer. But it's true. You're not really tanking if you just spend like 15 seconds on the river.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be clarified as in the tank. But I did want to get in the jab about Aaron's, because we know it's at least 12 minutes, right?
There were people it was reported by Poker.org, I believe, that I had a 12-minute tank in a spot and people were criticizing it. And I was like, man, I didn't think it was that long, but maybe, I guess. So I see it on social and I walk over to TJ Reed, Terrence Reed, who's at the table. And I'm like, hey, remember we were talking about that hand where you were going to call the clock? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, how long was it? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, how long like was I tanking for? He's like, oh, 4 minutes. Because at 5 minutes, I was going to call the clock. I'm like, oh, they said 12 minutes. He's like, no. And the whole table's like, no. But I had no idea. Time stood still. Who knew?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could have been anything. Here's a turned 8, by the way. Sergio called 3-bet of Cafu, who now takes the lead. Won't be thrilled about getting loads more money in, but he's going to go for another bet, hoping to extract value, potentially from overcards, maybe with draws. We know that only Sergio has ace high here. Nothing to go with it, but he's going to call. Ooh. And the Queen of Diamonds drops off on the river. Now, Cafu typically will check this river. It's not a good one for them. They want to try and show down their hand, probably. But Sergio, having called flop, having called turn, Aaron, this looks like a mandatory river shove.
A great spot to be shoving. He does check it back, though, hoping his showdown is good and just not good enough.
Yeah, Cafu going to take this one down, does get to show down that 8. I thought Sergio may well go for it there, but decided that their hand showed down well enough to win a decent non-zero amount of the time, and this time, unfortunately for them, that wasn't the case.
That's sort of a hand where you can make a poker enemy for life. You know, where you're just like, oh, I called down with ace jack and they show me ace 8 and they just turned it slightly better. Come on, bro. You know, like it's very hard to get out of that mindset. And I think if he does shove river, it probably gets through, but clubs did brick and maybe Cafu gets curious. So yeah, Cafu extends his chip lead as we play 4-handed. I have my answer, by the way. It's already in there. So we are calculating.
A few people have taken issue with the wording of the question. Sorry, guys. We tried. To the nearest minute was what we asked for. And I don't think it matters if you... I'm not sure that people would have had a much better chance if they'd had all the information.
Guys, like some of you might have got slightly closer, but every time we do one of these questions, there's a handful of people who say a number that's so ridiculous that Nick and I have to hold back our laughter. All right, so yeah. somebody might say something like 400,000, and you're like, really? Come on.
Well, someone did say 780, which is like half the levels that you played.
Yeah, it's like that is definitely more than one day of playing. Which, look, I have been. You know, there are times I've taken a bit of time on a decision, but never that much.
Oh, they thought it was in seconds. Well, I did say to the nearest minute. But look, you can't, if you answer before I've even finished, I understand if after Aaron clarified, you would have wanted to change your answer, but I didn't even finish saying the question.
I mean, really, it depends on your understanding of the word tanking. That's what we were trying to clarify, and it's different for different people, right? And when Nick said the word tanking, I wanted it clarified because it wasn't how much time did you need to make a decision. Tanking sort of implies additional time, perhaps, too much time that was needed.
I think the fairest part of this unfair process is that we are going to be giving away a $109 ticket to someone who's playing our silly game. Yeah. We do have to remember that these things are free for you guys to enter. So despite how hard done by you may feel, not only could you still win this one, well, probably not you, to be fair, Dex, but someone else could win this one. Maybe even someone that answered early could win this one. It's very, very possible. There are still going to be more opportunities this evening and on future shows for you to win tickets. So try not to be too perturbed. We apologize for any inconveniences that may have been caused.
Yeah, and Poker Utopia made a great point about the fact I needed to convert chips into big blinds. And at some levels, it was very easy. And at some levels, it was very hard. At 6,120, I'm like, but at 5,100, I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah, when I busted, which I did do on day 2 with aces, if no one heard, I was very aware because we were playing the 500, 1,000 level.
Yes.
I was very aware because I had 50k that my pot was worth 100 big blinds. As you know, Aaron, I am extremely comfortable with 100 big blinds. And as you'll also know, my table was nothing short of absolutely and totally sensational. So that 100 big blinds, we could have done some bits and some stuff with that, guys. Yeah. It is very sad. I try not to think about it too much.
Yeah, I felt my tables were very tough. from a certain period on. And so I really was just trying to prioritize surviving. When I played I believe it was day 3 with Patrick Leonard for 8 hours on my left, I did make chips that day, but I was just happy to move on to a table that didn't have Patrick Leonard in it. And then on day 4, guess they moved to my table. It's Patrick Leonard.
Yeah. Just when they thought you were done, they pull you back in.
Mm-hmm.
Cafu here with a huge chip lead, by the way. 136 big blinds. Wowzers.
Yeah, and it's going to put Yuri and Pilata in a tough spot here because even if they doubled through, it doesn't improve their equity that much. Like, I believe Pilata might get the chip lead, be very close. But Yuri could double through and still be very far behind.
Here comes a shove, and now without those bounties in there, this is looking a little bit too weak. The game changes quite a lot. Anyway, Aaron, I asked you, because we've seen a lot of, we had to fast forward your hand because you took so long.
They fast forward all the hands. That's what they do.
Yeah, sorry. I'm just trying to needle you. It's working. You had 6 days of incessant tanking. How many minutes did you spend on decisions for everything over 1 minute over the course of the World Series of Poker main event?
I'm going to give you a number, but the correct answer is not enough. Because if I spent more time doing this, I finished 65th for 125K. They paid 62nd, 150K. So if I had spent more time doing this, I would have an additional 25-ish thousand minus the 3% that Nick got. So I should have done it more, clearly. But the number I came up with, there were 5 hands, I think, where I tanked 4 minutes. I can think of. I think there's another 5 hands where I had about a 2-minute tank. And then I had another 30-ish hands that were 1 minute. And
what
so
dwell up?
60 minutes, 1 hour of tanking.
An hour of tanking, which means that bar safer on 58 is the closest to that answer. Floppy Smalls very close behind with 63, but it is going to go to bar safer on this occasion. Congratulations, bar safer. Keep an eye on your whispers. You have won that ticket. Congratulations. I would like to know if bar safer answered early or late, because we do have a fairly significant buy going the way of Yuri. Can we get an idea of when exactly bar safer answered? Because you have to, there are some things to consider. There's a lot of metagame in Aaron Thinks, because you could wait for the whole question to be asked, or you could interrupt, go early, lock up an answer that you think is really strong, right? Then no one else can take the answer from you. So there's advantages and disadvantages.
It's a classic Family Feud problem, right? Where the two people are at the front and they're like, what color is the, and they're like, blue.
Yeah.
Blue. Well, he's locked in blue.
Yeah.
And the question was, what color is the sun? What a shame.
I'm a big fan of this. Leo says, I thought it was just for the whole tournament, not just for a day. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he didn't win, so that's good.
That was just day 5. Right. Yeah, make sure you reply, bar safer, get yourself sorted. Paulada, King Jack. I am very much looking forward to giving my throat a 5-minute rest.
Coming up very shortly. And we are down to 4 players.
That's helpful, guys.
In the first hour.
I'm just glad that it's not a 3-hour Aaron Barodi final table. That's all I'll say. I don't think we need to come out of that the other way.
Did participate in one of the longer heads-up matches we've ever had on the stream.
Yes, they did. I was there.
Me too. Kind of.
You were doing one of your jobs, not the one I wanted you to do.
No.
Didn't even have a piece of that one. Gross. Cafu here with ace 10. Gonna pop it in. 28 big blinds effective here, and putting some pressure on Yuri. I mean, certainly a form of pressure. It's hard to know what even a calling range would look like there off 28 big blinds. I'm not sure what I'd be happy getting in.
I was wondering if he would actually call with worse hands. I don't think he will. He will fold some better hands, maybe pocket pairs up to 7s. But I don't think even ace queen folds.
Yeah. No. Cafu here picks up another one with ace king. Didn't want to. That time would have welcomed some aggression.
Really hasn't been 3-bet now that I think about it. His opens have either been defended or just shoved over or folded to. Hasn't had to face any small 3-bet decisions.
No, for the most part, it's been plain sailing for Zarkafu, apart from the fact that they didn't win that bounty that they've tried really hard to win.
Yes.
It has been smooth sailing, and now just a small matter of converting this chip lead, and it is a significant one, into a $6,536 payday, which I assume is the forefront now of their mind.
Yeah, and they're in a great position to do it. And as long as the pressure they apply doesn't get a lot of pushback, I expect them to continue doing it. Why would you stop?
Yeah, absolutely. There hasn't been a huge amount in the way of pushback from our players, as you said. And fourth place will be getting 2,424 and 3,580 for third place, which means that there are a lot of incentives for these two guys with 20 odd big blinds to allow Sergio to fall by the wayside if that is at all possible. And it's going to be a hard turn card for Sergio to hang on for here. It's an interesting sizing, betting half of Sergio's stack, which means that you get jammed on here, you're having to fold away that gut shot. But I think Yuri just not too bothered about that. Looking to extract folds, does get to do so. Just 10 big blinds left for Sergio as we take our first break of the day. We're back in 4.5 minutes.
Here comes 700,000 from Murciano. From what we know of Falcon, he's going to jam. Murciano absolutely snaps it off. And there is 8.9 million chips in this pot. Now ace-10 suited, facing the open of Dancy, who will not fancy playing a significant pot with Murciano. Just going to call. But in great shape, pipping the ace-8 suited of Dancy. So we take a flop, and it does have an ace, but it also has an 8. 2 pair for Dancy, and Murciano pairs his ace and will believe there's a good chance it's ahead. Not always. Doesn't have to be a total disaster for Murciano, this one.
No, but definitely has one of the stronger hands in his range here. And versus small bet, we've seen him be aggressive before. This time decides just to call.
Three of clubs on the turn. Murciano picks up a flush draw and checks. Dancy will almost certainly bet the turn. And will need to fade a club to avoid disaster.
Yeah, definitely want to be value betting your 2 pair here. And Murciano doesn't really mind if his opponent bets. Yes, he could be behind, but he has so much equity and a very strong bluff catcher. You almost hope your opponent bets. And he gets what he might want.
550k from Dancy is big. A large bet.
He bet 1 big blind on the flop and now pot on the turn. He'll have about 1 million behind if called into a pot of 1.6, setting up a potential river jam. And there are a lot of rivers that Murciano wants him to jam on.
Announces call. And this is a monumental river for these players, as it's hard to imagine Dancy would be dissuaded by a club from value betting the river, depending on its nature. Murciano looking to find the backdoor nut flush to put Dancy in serious trouble. The river's the king of clubs. Murciano takes the lead with the nuts and has not checked yet.
He hasn't checked yet. Opponent does have a little over half pot behind, maybe 1.1 and a 1.7. Typically you will check here when you have the ace of clubs because you block top pair hands as well. So you want to give your opponent a chance to bluff, but he is leading at it.
He's going to lead small. Really, really small. Designed to look like a stunting bet. To encourage Dancy to believe that his hand may be best. And Dancy, faced with the opportunity to reopen the action and go for more value with his 2-pair. How often does he believe that Murciano leads this small with a hand this good?
You don't see it that often. You do want to have it in part of the range. Use the time bank there. Now we are at a final table, so winning the max amount of chips is not the most important thing. You do want to ladder. You do want to make more money. And so, because of the situation, you might be more inclined to call. But it is a very small
He's all
bet.
in. Murciano is going to double check the nuts and snap it off, and Dancy runs into the trap.
Welcome back to the main event with myself, Nick Eastwood, and joining me, Aaron Baroni, fresh off a 65th place finish in WSOP main event. Just get that in one more time for you, buddy. I wonder when it will get old. Maybe it won't.
I don't think it will for me. I mean, I think, if there were 64 fewer players in the main event, I would be champion. Isn't that crazy?
That is extremely crazy, yes.
I mean,
I was hoping very much that you would do it. Obviously, I've got a holiday in 2 weeks, and I was going to be in the middle of it, and I was getting ready to break it to everyone involved that I'd be flying out to Vegas. I wasn't going to make any apologies about it. That's where I was going to be.
You know, the crazy thing is, I could have won it, and I would still show up the following Monday right here.
Yes, you would have done.
I would have liked to have longer than a 15-minute interview. I think that's fair.
I think we could have stretched 17.
Yeah, maybe 18.
Yeah, no, I know you'd have been here. I know that you would have done for sure. I certainly would have been. Although I'd also be a hell of a lot richer as well. So maybe I would have found a reason to have the day off. Well, final table here. A small matter of $6,500 to play for, which is certainly not insignificant by any stretch. Sergio here with the most immediate danger for 9.5 big blinds. And Yuri and Paulada in the middle of the pack. Probably three, you would say, out of the 4 players. There's 3 different strategies needing to be employed here. Obviously, I guess you're most comfortable or happy with all the chips, but in terms of your comfort in play and, where you're most well versed, is that still with the chip lead, or is it one of the middle stacks, or is it even the short stack?
I think it's easier to play chip lead or short stack. I think the middle stack is the harder part because you really have to be adjusting to how aggressive the chip leader is. And, it is great to have position on the chip leader in Yuri's spot, but I'd rather be in Palada's spot because I have position on the other stack who I am battling with for second place. And here, obviously, I'd rather have trip kings than 6 high.
I'm very thankful to have this cough button on my interface. Otherwise, we would be in big trouble today. 6 high here for Yuri. Who looks like they're going to give this one up, and that's going to give us the chance to give away another ticket. And this one, guys, will be as fair as you could possibly imagine, because all you got to do is type a word in the chat. Can we make it fairer than that? Hopefully we can win the affection of some people back after we let them down last time. Look at you, Dex. Hopefully, I hope you win this one, Dex. You deserve it. Would you like to do the keyword, Aaron? Have you seen what it is?
I have seen it. Now, we have a keyword already. The word is main. Don't write that. Don't type it.
Oh, that was a mistake. That's not a keyword. That was a command.
It's a command. Pardon me. It's a command.
You're too late, bro.
But that is in honor of Nick and his main event run. And it is unfair to replace that.
You can't replace that. I'm irreplaceable.
Accolades still stand and deserve admiration. So that's going to stay. But in honor of my main event run, the keyword for today is deepest. DEEPEST, deepest, because I had the deepest main event run of anybody on the team this year. Possibly anybody on the team ever.
Yeah, unless you include people that were honorary members after having done well. You know,
Yeah,
someone that
yeah.
started, you got to start with the patch and end with the patch, you know. And you certainly did that. So deepest is the keyword, guys, if you'd like to win a 109 ticket in honor of the deepest run 8-day poker has ever seen at the World Series of Poker main event. Only to be topped next year by the 1 day further rule.
It gets harder every year.
It does. You
When
set
I was
the bar high
talking
for
with-
yourself.
When I was talking with Sean Deeb at the feature, he had basically said, "Is this your biggest score?" I was like, "Oh yeah." He's like, "Well, you don't want to make it too big because then it's really hard to beat. You just want to like kind of sandbag it now, and then you can come back next year and beat that." I'm like, "Oh, that's my plan for sure. Just definitely gonna try to bust now and not win this thing."
Yeah. I mean, you don't even ever have to come back if you win it. You retire.
Yeah.
Terrible run out here for Kings from Sergio, but doesn't necessarily follow that Cafu has to have a 9 here. Maybe the best course of action would be to go for the trap here. Here comes the trap. Although I'm not ruling out Sergio folding, but Cafu has got 9 high, so I imagine we see some chips into the pot here.
Yeah, I expect to see a bet here. Could maybe make a queen fold. Does decide just to check. And it's a good check. Sergio had a hand that probably wasn't folding. One thing we haven't mentioned yet is that Sergio and Yuri, they have lower average buy-ins than Cafu and Pallotta, and they might play a little bit more snug just because of that. But
Snug or not, Aaron, there are certain things in low-limit hold'em tournaments that you cannot avoid. And this, I would say, is fairly high up on that list. Sergio, going to rip the 10s. Yuri, I think they might call.
I would. Definitely would.
Here it comes from Yuri. So Sergio will be looking for a 10 here to stay alive. 5 deuce 4, no help. Turn card is a 6. Still needs to be a 10 or a 3 would chop. Neither of those arrive on the river. Now Yuri into second place in chips. Sergio going to come forth for $2,424.
Good game, Sergio. Again, they were down to 2.8 big blinds and spun it back up all the way to 30. Could have busted 8th, could have busted 7th, ended up getting a top 4 finish. And, you know, I said they have a $6 average buy, and this is a massive score, well deserved.
A very funny thing just happened, Aaron, because we're about to head into another segment that one particular person doesn't enjoy too much, or they just enjoy the attention of not enjoying it too much. Who knows? We don't know them personally, but it's the Pits has won a 109 ticket. So if I'm to be understood correctly, it's the Pits. You're going to take our 109 ticket and you're going to go and you're going to avoid our flame out section. You're going to go make yourself a cup of coffee. Is that what's going to happen? Or are you going to stay with us because you've managed to win off of our silly game? I'm not sure which it's going to be. What's your money on, Aaron?
They're definitely making coffee.
They're definitely going off and avoiding this part, aren't they? Guys, we're about to do.
I would like them to stay.
So would I. I want them to enter. I don't want them to stay.
Yes.
I want them to enter. One day, I want them to enter. That would be my dream. Get NetJam. How you doing? Back from Red Tooth. That probably means it's a bit early for a successful evening, but she does get to say massive congratulations to Aaron. Enjoyed following your main event. What a fantastic run. And I got a high, so I guess I'll take that. It's very nice, isn't it?
It is nice. We see a flat out of the ace queen here, choosing not to 3-bet out of the small blind. And then Pallotta is going to squeeze the king 7. Likely believing that Yuri's range is capped, won't have hands like ace queen in it, but Yuri does. And now what?
Yeah.
Folding
The
seems
king
way
7.
too tight, but he does fold.
Yeah, wow. Just expected Pallotta not really to be that aggressive, I suppose. They haven't been so far. So I guess Yuri just going on what the information they have and Pallotta using that against them to take second in chips back just by a small pip. We are going to do the flame out now, guys. So flame outs are now open for 4 minutes. We want to know if you played today's free roll, which is now closed for entry. If you played, we want to know from you. Excuse me. Did you play the free roll? Did you bust it? How did you do? How do you feel about busting? And we want a short anecdote to describe all of those emotions into one little nugget. And then I will create a short list for Aaron, who would so much rather be doing this than battling in the last 20 of the main event right now. You have no idea. So yeah, everyone get their entries into the chat. We appreciate everyone playing our games with us. And if you do win this week's Flame Out, you'll be chosen by, prestigious main event player Aaron Baroni. So you'll get a command in the chat as well. These are all things that I'm selling it, guys. I'm selling it. We just want to hear from you how your tournament went. In any way, shape, or form that you like, because some of the best ones are just the haphazard throwaways. Some of the best ones are dedicated haikus. We don't make the rules, guys. We just want to see your entries into our flame out. Did you bust a free roll? How, why, who, and how do you feel about it? Let's see them in the chat.
Also, I think there's a handful of entries that are accidental, where people just show up in the chat, don't know what we're doing exactly, want to complain about their free roll experience, and suddenly they've won a ticket. Do we give tickets away for this?
We don't know, and we must know that.
You know what? We actually give away something better than a ticket. Prestige.
Yes, prestige.
1 week of being basically honored in the command in the chat. Which
immortalized for 1
money
week.
Comes and goes, right?
It does come and go.
Prestige, honor, respect, admiration stays forever.
Yes, it really does. I mean, some of the best flameouts have lived long in our memory.
That said, if we're here next year, if A-Late Poker decides to give us another chance at announcing the show, one of the things I'm going to push for is a ticket attachment to this game. But for now, there is none.
And I will be attaching all my requests on Aaron's coattails from now on. As I believe that my sphere of influence has reduced somewhat. Can't lean on those 2 main event caches anymore. Just going to have to, if I want something done, I'll say, Aaron, do you reckon this would be good? Do you reckon you could have a word with the powers? Because power I do not have.
But are you the best main event day 1 player of all time? Maybe.
I could well be. You never know. It's certainly not the ones that didn't make it to day 2. I know that much.
Correct.
I've never not made day 2. Three vanquishments on day 2, know that now. But if I ever make it past day 2, I've always cashed.
Yeah.
So maybe the best day 3 player ever. Who knows?
That's also true. But also maybe the worst day 2 player ever.
It definitely could be true. But then I've passed some day. And last year I had the greatest day 2 in the room. So it's hard to be too critical, really. I mean, you remember you're having that interview you got on the feature table. You're like, oh, look how good I am. I've got 180k. And I came out with my massive wad of chips. So what do you think about that?
Someone tried to do that to me this year. Lucia Navarro tried to come over and crash my interview and be like, how much? How much do you have? And I knew how much she had. So I said 1,000 less. And then she did her little, tiki, I have this much. And I just said, I was just kidding. I actually have 200,000 chips more than you. And then she left. And that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, you got her good. I enjoyed that.
That's what it's all about, really.
It certainly is. You can't be letting Lucia have too good of a time. She's really annoying when she's having a good time. Yuri here with an opportunity to 3-bet. They could well take it.
So Yuri has been tighter, I would say, than a lot of players would be in the spot. And part of that is the ICM, I think, of the situation, right, of the pay jump that is looming. And part of it might be just because when you're playing a bigger spot that you're less familiar with, you might knit up a little bit. Hi, I was just in the main event. If you haven't heard, I might have done that here and there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wanted to include that in part of the questioning, but we didn't really leave enough time. We'll just do it now. You're incredibly humble at the table in terms of who's better than you, or you think you know who's better than you, right? You just do not care about the amount of people that you hear that, even on day 1, they have an amazing table and they just start 4-betting the other geezer that's any good. You would just avoided every single situation that you possibly could when you thought that there was people better than you, or even potentially better than you. Is it a main event thing, or is that just the thing you think is always good?
I mean, I've always been anti-reg war, ego battle at the table. If I have a good table, but there's one player who's really good, why would I try to play pots with them? Why not try to just avoid them as much as I can? And as you get deeper in the main, that becomes less possible, of course. Great value bet here by Cafu, and really unfortunate river for Pallotta. But yeah, I just felt that was the right approach. And the funny thing is, I say that to you now, and that was my thought process going in. But there were a couple hands where I was like, nah, let's go after him. So, I'm still guilty of it occasionally, but if I can avoid playing pots with the best player, especially when I'm out of position, that seems like a good thing to do.
Perfectly done. Paul Arder here with a gut shot. We are going to go through some flame outs, and I can feel my voice verging on the edge of total destruction. So not only is it flame out time, guys, and I get to go through, we're going to get play by play Aaron, and I'm going to sneak a rest, and hopefully you don't make me laugh, guys, because I won't be able to handle that. I'll start coughing.
2 poker hands make it to a river.
Top
pair for Yuri. Yeah. Top pair for Yuri here. Gonna go for value. And given this price, pretty sure Pilata is going to at least call. Does decide to call. Shown the bad news. Pilata has had a lot of the second best hand recently in this 3-hand match, which is very frustrating. And it's a really good bluff catcher. Just like the hand before, has done nothing wrong and somehow has seen his stack fall from 30 bigs to 15. Now our short stack. Cafu opening the button, 10-9 of hearts, and gets it through. Still playing for 6,500. Third place going to get 3,580. King, Queen of Hearts for Yuri. Cafu with the best hand. Pretty good 3-bet spot. Hand doesn't flop that well. Does just decide to call. And a flush draw for Yuri. Jack 8 deuce, 2 hearts. Goes check, check. Cafu with the ace-6. Does decide to bet. Not sure if it's a bluff or value. He still does have the best hand here. And it might just go check, check. Or maybe he'll decide it's not good enough to check. I need to bet it. Does check. And Yuri now with king high will also check. And Cafu wins a pot that I would bet he does not expect to win that often. Yuri taking the passive line with the king high. Prioritizing keeping himself in second place. And it's one of those things where if Cafu can pick up on that, my opponent really wants to not put a lot of chips in the middle. Do the thing your opponent doesn't want to do. Make him put a lot of chips in the middle. Be aggressive. And that's what he does.
Thank you, everybody, for your flame out entries. I really enjoyed them today. I do have a favorite, but I don't matter because I didn't come 65th in the main event. So I get to read them to the person that did, and they're going to choose one of these. I have included 6 because I enjoyed them for different reasons, and I want to reward entry. As I've said to you before, I think rewarding participation is important, and I think if we only do 3, it just doesn't do enough for me. So we are going to begin our flameouts. Are you ready, Aaron Baroni?
I'm ready.
Okay. First up, flameout lost. Can't remember boring.
Okay.
Okay. I always go in so optimistically, hoping I can use my learned skills against the optimism of the over-aggressive fool. A tale of the hero versus the villain, the righteousness of proper outsmarting play, earn the money. Don't luck into it. Play the cards and bluff at the right time. Only the poker gods have other intentions. King 4 off is destined for victory, apparently, even against all odds. Rivering is 4, of course, the will of the gods.
I'm trying not to give anything away.
Yeah, sure.
I usually give it away.
Yeah. Okay. The villain rivers his flush with a red card. Well, that's me. Red carded. Sent off. Shame there's no VAR in poker. Thought that was nice and topical because we watched some football this week. Okay. Not a flame out. Thought I'd take the Aaron route and make the money by running out the clock.
They're not going to win. They're not winning.
It's a bold strategy, Con. Let's see if it pays off.
Good
no
game.
chance. Right. Next up, I flamed out fast, shoving 10s into aces, but my fault. I suck harder than Hoover. Hoover is capitalized.
I see. Okay.
And last, this is a two-parter. Never done one of these before. So, no story from me today. Someone asks, still in? The reply, no, just lost first hand, 6-way all in.
Okay. Oof. So
Tough
I'm
one.
down to 2.
Okay.
Between 2.
Okay. Is it taking the Aaron route and running down the clock by any chance?
No, really. If anybody would have mentioned my main event run and how great I am, they would have won automatically.
I'm surprised no one did that. Yeah.
You know, you guys chose to not do it, which is
Someone
probably
else
the
that
right
did,
move.
Someone else that didn't get chosen referred to your bust out hand. I didn't think that was. I think it was too soon to bring that one.
It's just a boring bust out hand.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with the last one. 6-way all in is classic free roll ending, and I love it.
No story from me today is the winner. No story from me. Tried not to enter. I assume you really enjoy that as well. The fact that they didn't even want to play. Yeah. No story from me today. That's from Champagne Poker. Someone asks, still in? ? They said no. Lost first hand, 6-way all in. Congratulations, Champagne Poker, on another victory in the Flame Out. I believe this is your second or third win. Really, really phenomenal player, even when you're not playing. So congratulations, a well-deserved victory, and you will get a command for the week bestowed upon you by Aaron Broney.
Congrats, Champagne.
What could you want?
Earned, deserved.
Yes.
I think
Also,
if it was switched and you could pick your favorite, is your favorite the one that's topical with the VAR, the VAR?
No, the one that made me giggle was the Hoover one, because I think when you read it, it's like, I suck harder than Hoover, just randomly capitalized. It's like aggressively.
Hoover.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think
right here, Pallotta in some trouble. Does have a club to get out of it. And now has a hand here. Third pair now. Top kicker up against trips of Cafu.
Oh, wow. It's going to be a jam from Paulada and a call from Cafu, who's going to pick it off with an ace. Aaron looks a little bit confused. Usually when you see a bet, it's a bluff or a value bet. That must have been a bluff and a very courageous one.
I actually think it's a value bet.
You think it's a value bet? Okay.
I think he's trying to get called by worse sixes. And I don't think he expected his opponent to have that many aces given pre-flop action. So he just figured, I think I have the best hand here, and this is how I get value. Pallotta definitely capable of going for value there and not just trying to ladder with the shorter stack, but good game to them. And now we're heads up here.
We are.
With my pick, Cafu, and Yuri, who might be the crowd favorite because he got in from a free roll.
Wow. That is crowd favorite territory, and quite disgraceful that neither of us picked them as a result. I mean, they played unbelievably well, to be fair.
They did.
Average stake of $1.53.
It's incredible.
Played a level 40 plus free roll. They played free rolls a lot. They won 15K in the Poker News opening event in 2024. They've made 1,213 final tables. Most of those probably free rolls or small stakes tournaments. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and they've been playing a little bit on the tighter side so far to get themselves to this point. I doubt that continues, because at this point, the only way you make more money is by, winning the tournament. So there's really nowhere to hide heads up. There's no reason to play super tight. And we'll see how they adjust, and then we'll see also if Cafu is able to adjust to their adjustment.
Lots of adjusting.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, we will be doing a little thinky poo question in about 5 minutes time. I was just letting you know so you're ready.
Okay. I'm ready.
So about 5 minutes, guys, we'll do a Nick Thinks and we'll give away another ticket. But for now, we are focused laser-like on this heads-up match. Cafu opening the button here with 6-5. And I wonder if Cafu will come and say hi again, because they did last time.
Yuri.
Jam there from Yuri, 10-8 offsuit.
Definitely not a tight play.
No, definitely not waiting around. There's no more ladders to be had. Yuri is here for it. And they've probably seen Cafu be incredibly aggressive over the course of the day. And thought, you know what? Let's nick one. Let's add a couple big blinds to my stack. And if we get called, off we go to the races.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see, again, if Cafu can figure that out. Because we know, here we go again, another pretty deep jam. We've seen the hands, right? Cafu has seen two very aggressive actions from Yuri in the last two hands, right? Shove over and then check, shove, flop. And both times, when you first see it from a player who's been tight, you might think they just have hands. But we know that at least once he did not.
Yeah, we're going to get a full house here for Yuri. Nothing really doing for Cafu, but does turn a pair of threes, and they decide to value bet it on the turn. Yuri with a classic hand that you might want to slow play, but also can't really blame them for wanting to put more money in at any given moment. Going to be a check on the river, but Cafu with a bluff catcher here. Can Yuri get a little bit more value out of this one?
Yeah, I think a Heart River might have actually saved Cafu. Might decide to call this one given how aggressive Yuri's been in this heads-up match. Wouldn't blame him for it. Hearts brick.
Hasn't been aggressive in the form of small bets, though. It's been mostly large all-in, so does decide to get away from this one, even with that bluff catcher. Very, very well-timed fold from Cafu. It's just not all about raw aggression. Got some good fold timing as well.
Yeah, and the last time Cafu was here, heads up, in the Mystery Bounty main event on this stream, he played an over an hour heads-up match. Definitely capable of trying to grind the opponent down here. And this time for him, I'm in the booth and not at the table. And we'll see how that changes things.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that can hang with a 65th place finisher in the main event for an hour, heads up. They've got to be a good player, man.
No other possibility.
Yuri here with the King 6. Likely to see this get opened up. Or at least volunteered. Queen 3 offered Cafu, who's going to go for a quick check in the big blind. Are you monitoring your check timings here?
I'm trying to pay attention. I think mine are pretty consistent. I try to basically, in spots that, if it's like pre-flop and I'm out of position, I don't think it really matters. But in position, I definitely try to time it out correctly. The hard thing actually about playing live is to do that. I find that to be difficult because, again, I have no concept of time in that situation.
Yeah, I'd say that's one of the things I'm better at. I just don't have all the poker knowledge stuff that you got. So
combined, imagine we could do.
Yeah, maybe one day we could do something. A little taggy team event. That would be goated. I would love to do that. Basically, I would just play until I don't have 100 big blinds anymore, and then just send the whole thing over to you.
Yeah, and then I would double through.
Yeah, to get it back.
Sick hero call. I need 110 big blinds. You get to tag back in.
Tag back in, dust it down so you can play again. Yeah, perfect. Flush draw here on the turn for Yuri. Yeah, that would be great if we could do that. I would, in the interest of making money, would be firmly in the camp of you playing as much as possible.
Just let me play the ICM spots. It'd be great. Yeah, super fun.
Yeah, we got this figured out.
Oh wow!
11 big blind bluff here from Yuri, who is looking to try and take one away from Cafu with just ace high. Has not folded yet. Is definitely suspicious.
This would be an incredible call. You really don't want to have the 8 here because you block stuff like maybe 10-8, Jack-8 for your opponent having. It's really hard to imagine a bluff that check calls 2 streets. But Yuri had
8-6 as well, though.
True. But Yuri had a bluff and a spot. Again, he's been tight so far, and this helps him get away with it heads up. I think Cafu will be shocked to see the hands that Yuri's shown down so far, other than the time he had a full house.
Yeah. A few clamorings in the chat for us to play the tag team. Maybe we should screenshot this.
Yeah.
Put it in our submission.
Right next to the ticket we would like to attach to Free Roll Flameout.
Yeah.
Just do one of the two, guys. Give us $1,000 or let us reward our community for playing our silly game.
And a flagrant reminder next to that of you saving the documentary by becoming 65th.
Yes. Almost single-handedly.
Yeah. Queen 7. Yeah, tough one here for Cafu, who does pair the 7 and again, Yuri's going to go for a slow play with one of those immortal hands. I mean, it's just not a hand you can ever imagine wanting to fold on any run out. Even if it came Jack 10 of spades, it'd still be, sorry, not Jack 10 of spades, because that would be rather good. Ace King of spades, for example. That's a pretty bad river for Cafu, who makes another full house. Yuri with top boat, looking to maybe get themselves back into this one before we take our Nick Thinks question and award another 109 ticket. Going to be check. How much does Yuri think they can get here? It's a very reasonable thing to assume that Cafu can have a 7 in this spot.
I think Cafu is just trapping. Like, I think any sizing Cafu wasn't folding to.
That's a big bet, but not enormous. Is there any way that Cafu raises this river, or is this just a little bit too thin to get called by worse? It's going to go for call.
Yeah, I think Cafu did think he had the best hand. Just raising seems thin. Surprised, I believe, to see the queen. Expected more of the busted spade draws, or maybe the deuce that got counterfeited.
Yeah,
but it's done really poorly for Cafu so far in this heads-up match. I feel like they've lost every hand, and they still have a 2-1 chip lead.
They do, and it's now time, Aaron. Deliver upon to me your question for Nick Thinks. Guys are doing Nick Thinks. Aaron's asked me a question. I'm going to guess to the best of my abilities what the answer to that question is. You are looking for the answer that I think it is, not the actual answer to the question, whether that's available or not. Only answer once. If your answer is already taken, you may guess one more time. Understood? Good. Because I don't have the voice to explain the rules again.
Okay. So I had a troll question that I'm not going to ask because then people will start answering it and they'll get mad.
Okay.
But I will go to my actual question. So as everybody knows, I played the main event. I got 65th for 125 bags.
It's the first I'm hearing about this.
Yeah, I just want to let you know. But I'm not the only one who played the main event. Nick, you also played the main event.
Oh, why?
Well, that's a great question, but that is not the question. The question is, during the main event, how many hands were you dealt? How many hands were you dealt during the WSOP main event?
I'm sure you don't mean playable ones, because that was one.
Nope.
And
just times the dealer sent 2 cards your way, and you chose to do whatever you want with them.
Okay.
You think about that. And right here, we've got a flush versus top pair. First time Cafu has the best hand against Yuri.
Yeah, tough one here for Yuri. Top pair you'd expect in a pot this small to be good, but when you do get check raised, by the way, and you don't have any immediate outs to improve, it becomes a little bit rubbish, and they're just going to let it go.
It's a very good fold heads up. It's a really, I think most people would at least call turn and then evaluate river, but it's a very good fold heads up to fold top pair there. It is a dangerous board. You could lose to a flush or a straight, drawing stone dead, and he was, and he managed to get out of the way. Nick now having to think about every hand he played in the main event. Great revenge for me. 2 playable hands here. Ace-7, King-10.
All right, we'll go with this. That's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
And a pot-sized bet from Yuri takes it down.
Cafu now king-queen. 4 deuce, a playable holding, heads up. We're seeing 2.2 from Cafu. Any thoughts? I don't remember if they used that sizing against you. Do you like it? Any thoughts about it? Does it matter?
I'm super indifferent to it.
Okay.
I think it's fine. I think if you end up having 2 sizes with different ranges, it gets really complicated, and you kind of want to avoid that. But I think overall it's fine. 2, 2.1, 2.2. The difference is going to be negligible. I think a lot of where people actually win or lose money is going to be on just post flop, basically, and their sizing's there.
Yeah, that definitely seems correct. Same for cash games as well, generally speaking. People are like, why do you make it 2 or 2.2 or 2.5? I'm like, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it really doesn't matter that much. Just post flop is where most of the there can be situations where if you're getting 3-bet a lot, especially in this game, heads up, if you're getting 3-bet a lot, then maybe you want to make it 2, because 2.2 every time that you're going to fold is quite a lot of chips, right?
Yeah, and also allows you to see more flops in position if you get 3-bet, right? You get called more your range.
I'll refer to Easty to give my guess for me. That's not how this game works. My guess could be, well, it's almost certainly not right. But if you've been following my journey, guys, on Instagram, for example, or you know vaguely from the Ace 8 Poker Instagram what's been going on, then you'll have an idea of how many levels I played. So we don't mind a bit of insider information giving you an edge. We don't mind that.
It rewards the people that pay attention to your story and your journey.
Yeah.
And punishes those who don't.
It does. We like punishment.
We do. 2.5 now from Cafu. Mixing up the sizings.
Soranaka just entered twice there. I'm not sure if someone already used your guess and that's why he did it, but I can't see it. So I really hope you haven't broken our rules. That would upset me greatly. I'll leave that to the powers that be.
Yeah, somebody else put it. I think Brent had 3-3-3.
Okay, good. I was going to say it would be amateurish.
I can't believe I actually spent the time to go up and look. I'm just shocked.
You actually looked?
Yeah, I went and looked. I scrolled up. I did some work. That's not what I do around here.
Oh, you do have to clarify if it's already been answered, though. You can't just chuck in guesses because it gets a bit messy. The contest is closed, though. So while we tally up who's won that, we will see who has got the ticket, the last one and of the day. It's not the last ticket of the day, though.
That is true. We have one more ticket to give away. A big one.
I'd be very grateful when the time comes if you wouldn't mind spinning the wheel, because I think if I try to spin the wheel, I may faint.
You might die, yes. I will take it for you. Don't worry.
I appreciate that. Also, you just have loads of money, so you're probably in the mood to do anything that you're asked to do right now.
I mean, today is the day where I'm going to be willing to do more.
Give
me 2 weeks, of being back in the online grind. Settle back in to being the curmudgeon that I am.
Jack on the river here
Great
for
river
Cafu.
for Cafu.
Yeah, great river. Cafu now pretty solid lead in this hand. Going to be a value bet here from Yuri, and it's just a matter of whether Cafu finds the time to carve out a value raise, and I think that's what needs to happen here versus this sizing.
Yeah,
there it is.
And they pick up on it and get called quickly.
Very quickly, yes, indeed. Yuri did not felt there would be a lot of hands that would turn themselves into bluffs on that river.
Yeah, and Cafu will have a lot of he'll have a lot of bricked flush draws. Unfortunately, his quote unquote bricked flush draw turned into top pair, top kicker.
Indeed. A6 here for Yuri, looking for maybe a trap, maybe a limp shove, but 3 high for Cafu. Not going to be getting involved in this one. And that should do it for this particular hand.
Yeah, Cafu with that pot has really regained the chip advantage they had in the beginning.
Yeah, and Yuri with ace queen now, very strong holding, goes for the small 3-bet. Gonna have some shoves, but ace queen just too strong to rip. Wants to play a pot, try to get the most value from it. King's also probably a little bit too strong to rip. Nothing doing for either here.
Yeah, Cafu not having much. Still might be a hand you might want to check raise sometimes.
Yeah, and there is 2 kings still ahead. Cafu, though, 111 big blinds. That's chunky. It's going to take some coming back for Yuri. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, but you'd have to imagine that a huge favourite here, Cafu. Taking their time here, though, would be an ill-timed check raise if they found it.
Yeah, ends up folding. I think a big part of that's that Yuri bet 2 big blinds, basically the pot. Sometimes sizing can determine, obviously, should determine your action, but also it'll give you an idea of what sort of hand your opponent might have. I think if Yuri bets 1 big blind, Cafu is going to check raise that a lot more frequently.
Yeah, absolutely. 9-3 for Cafu, picks this one up, and 4-1-ish is the chip lead right now. Cafu with another 3 high. He's going to let this one go.
Yeah, Cafu's still in great position here.
Absolutely. Looking and feeling good. Just doesn't need to panic. Looking for a spot just to leverage the last 27 out of Yuri's stack here. It's not going to be this one as Yuri lets it go. 27 big blinds, still healthy, but obviously one hand away from crowning a champion here. Cafu, not too long ago, came second to our very own Aaron Baroni. Now with a chance to go one step further and win the whole thing. Very impressive to be back here so fast, by the way, and to be competing for the trophy once more.
Correct. I mean, I think making the final table twice is incredible. And to get yourself heads up twice is even better. And, you know, I did pick them to win. But it would be a great redemption arc type story for them to come back a few weeks after and just take the whole thing down after finishing second. And they're very close to that right now.
They are indeed. And not a good flop for King 8 of Spades. It's a strong heads-up hand, but not on Ace 10-9, all hearts. So after we get the C-bet here, I expect that to be folded. 115 big blinds now for Cafu. I'm hoping that they'll come and say hi, because they did last time, remember?
Yeah, I don't want to read anything into it. Maybe, I mean, it's possible that they won and they're out celebrating.
Oh, no, I think it's Keep It Real. Is it not Keep It Real? 2-3. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Keep It Real. It rings a bell. They're after an Ace 8 apparently they're after an Ace 8 poker contract due to having been here twice. So we'll see. Aaron does have a lot of influence now. You're asking the right person.
Yeah, I think if you win it 3 times, maybe.
Okay, they haven't even won it once yet.
Well, I mean, just say it. Yeah. There's limited contract money to go around, guys, and I'm trying to get every piece that I can. All right. This is the time for me to get more, not to me to give it away.
No, yeah, you have to be selfish, guys. Come on, he's got a family to feed. How could he possibly afford it with the last week's exploits?
We eat a lot.
7 on the turn here. Pairs Cafu. Yuri, though, with top pair. Doing a lot of trapping with hands you wouldn't expect. Here comes call.
Oh, no.
7 on the river for Cafu. Not that many big blinds in the middle right now, so it's going to be hard to get the lot here, quote unquote. Here comes 11.4 though, and Yuri has to imagine that this is a hand that they have to call. They do begrudgingly flick it in, and Cafu with a 7, the running 7s. I mean, look at their equity on the flop. It's extremely low versus the top pair. Yuri went for the check. Could have bet and won the pot right there and then. That is the risk of the trap. Sometimes you run into it, and here is an all-in from Cafu. King 7 from Yuri. Gonna let it go. 100 big blinds, 10-1 this chip lead now. It's hard to imagine Yuri finding a way back into this one. Such a long, long way to go. My voice is praying that they don't. Here we are, all in. Jack 10 against 9-7. It's going to have to be a 9 or a 7 on the river for Yuri, or this one's over, and it is over. Cafu with a phenomenal performance from start to finish. Started chip leader, ended chip leader. That's how you do it. And they are going to pick up the $6,500 dollars. $6,500 for first place. And the respect of Aaron as well, as they pick up Aaron 2 points in a already lost race for myself, it seems. We're going to have to figure out what the score is. I'm pretty sure it's not very favorable. I think it might be 16-11.
That sounds about right. I mean, to be fair, Cafu had my respect before. That hour and a half or so heads up match we had was pretty epic. And I think it's really cool that they had that match. Didn't let them didn't deter them from playing this event, continue to play. And on the week that I wasn't here, they decided, you know what? Aaron's not here in this tournament. How about I just win the whole thing? Came in as chip leader, left as chip leader. It's rare to see someone be just wire to wire chip leader, played extremely well, and wins the 6,500 first place prize. And I believe around 2K-ish worth of bounties. So an amazing score. Redemption arc complete. Well done, Cafu. Good game.
Yeah. Congratulations, keep it real. And we appreciate you stopping by as well to share your success with us. Very, very well played to you, and congratulations on your win. Right. A few things to get through, guys, before I can never speak again for the next 2 days. Firstly, we did a little Nick Thinks question. Aaron, you asked me what?
Yes. I asked you in the WSOP 2026 main event, the same one where I won 125,000 and got 65th place. The same one where you won 0,000, and they didn't even publish. They didn't even publish what place you got. My question was, how many main event hands were you dealt?
So I play a lot of live poker. It's pretty slow. The main event is maybe even slower. People are taking a bit longer. I decided there was probably 25 hands an hour ish. Because I remember there being quite a lot of like raise take it as well, so that does add up. And I played just under 14 hours, so I didn't go for anything special. I played for just under 14 hours, so I didn't go for the full 350. I decided that my 345th hand was pocket aces and my last. So 345 was the correct answer. Ander XPW123, you said 346. No, I didn't get to play a 346. Thank you very much, Ander. But unfortunately, I've got to give you a ticket anyway. So $109 worth of tickets going your way. And now there's only one thing left to do, Aaron.
One thing left. We have this wheel. We'll be awarding a $320 ticket to the winner. A lot of names on the wheel this time. Only one will win. But
True.
If it lands on somebody and they are not here, we will spin it again.
We will.
So at least one spin coming up. I just saw it pass by Jebby75. I believe they might have actually won in the past. But good luck to everybody. And I am just here to tell you, spin the wheel.
Wow, that is a 65th place spin the wheel, that's for sure.
62nd, I might have danced.
Me too. Player quitter there. Ashfilio. They're always here. They're always here early doors supporting our stream. We really hope you're still here and haven't gone to bed. That would break our hearts, wouldn't it, Aaron?
They have to be here. Come on. There we go.
Yeah, you indeed. Yes. Congratulations, Ashfilio. We really appreciate you always tuning in. We hope you enjoy the stream, and we hope you also enjoy playing in your $320 tournament. Congratulations.
Yep, congrats. Thank you guys all for being here. It was really nice to be back. And as Nick said, would I prefer to be still playing the main event? Sure. But this is a reasonable consolation prize. You know, my normal life, I don't really mind getting back to it, get to see my family. And Nick, who has become sort of extended family, and I haven't paid him money yet, but I do owe him a little bit. But yeah, I just had a great time being here. Yeah, I'll get you back eventually.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, I know where you have to go, but we did a 3% swap this past year in the main. Did you have any idea what next year was going to look like in terms of your swaps and such?
What's it going to look like?
Yeah, are you going to still be doing that? Are you going to keep it all for yourself?
Am I going to keep all of it for myself? No, I think I enjoyed sweating you too much. The only way that I wouldn't be swapping is if I was denied, which is always possible because I didn't. Look, all I'll remind you is if that is the way you're taking this, just remember I got it in better than you on day 2.
You did.
It could have been me. It's not, but it could have been.
It could have been. I could have been the one sick, sleeping in your bed. Who knows?
You could have been. I'd have enjoyed that.
I will come up with some sort of proposal, and I will release it next week here on the main event, and we will we'll see how you like it, how the audience likes it.
Okay, that sounds exciting. I'm looking forward to that. Although I do think we're not here next week.
The week after?
Yeah. So next week, there's a little something going on next weekend that we think might affect people's interest. So we will not be here next week, but we will be here the week after.
No swap.
And that means that I won't get a swap. Damn it. I'll turn up if that's what it means, guys. Just so everyone knows, this week we have a few things going on just before we leave. The Global League final is on Saturday. Top 11 players from each country have been selected to play by earning their place through points accumulated during the main tournament. So that is already decided. Now players are going to compete for representing their country for title of Global League champion and exclusive prizes. Also, UKPL Reading is this week. UKPL Reading, I will be joining Josh Manley Poker, who I haven't seen in way too long. I'm talking 2 months. And if you've met Josh Manley Poker, you know that's way too long. Very much looking forward to that. We will be bringing you broadcasts from the UKPL Reading from Thursday onwards to the end of the week. Komodo Dragon's back for Snap Attack tomorrow. El Chura Mateus for Blast Off on Wednesday. Aaron, would you like the last word? It seems befitting of your performance this week.
Well, I I had an amazing time representing our brand and just myself at the main. And I had said this in a tweet before that, yes, the money is great. And as a professional, it's what we play for. But just the experience itself is so much more than that. It's really about the people. And I want to thank everybody who supported me either in person there or through socials or anything like that. It did really mean a lot to me. And I'm just excited for next year and excited for, I guess, in 2 weeks when I get to come back and discuss our swap percentage in the main 2027.
Yeah, I'd echo those sentiments, guys. Even though I didn't go too far, loads of messages, of commiserations and good lucks and everything. So we really do feel it when we're out there, and we appreciate every one of you. And thank you everyone for tuning in today as well. That's going to be it for this week. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. We hope you all enjoy your weeks. We'll see you for UKPL Reading. All the best.